All right, so today we're digging into something pretty wild. It's a document called Brocabulary. Now, on the surface, it looks like a glossary just packed with memes, inside jokes, and slang. But if you look just a little deeper, it's actually a super detailed blueprint for a massive, and I mean massive, project. And that whole project really kicks off with this one huge question. What if you could actually use the language of the internet, the memes, the irony, that whole vibe, to build a national mental health network completely from scratch? That is the wild ambition we're going to unpack right now. And this is where you see that the humor isn't just an accident, it's an engineered feature. The entire way they communicate is built on these four axes that they can actually adjust: the mean rate, the irony, the bro energy, and the cryptic lore. They can literally dial the tone up or down depending on who they're talking to. It's humor as a configurable system. Pretty cool. Okay, let's dive into the core philosophy here, because underneath all the jokes, there's this really powerful set of ideas about how you can engineer communication and systems themselves. So the project calls its main philosophy brogramming. And this definition, this quad-stacked sandwich, it's kind of the key to everything. It's this idea of treating it all like an engineering problem. Language isn't just words, it's code you can design. A database isn't just data, it's a structure you can engineer. Heck, even a public persona, that's something you can build with real intention. And this gets right to the heart of it. If words are code, then every single thing you say is like a function that does something. And the jokes, well, for anyone who codes, you'll get this. They're the doc strings. They're the little comments that explain what the code is actually supposed to do. The humor is there to make the whole system's really complex purpose make sense. So this is the why, why the bro vibe, why all the memes? It's because the project sees culture as an API, that's an application programming interface. It's a deliberate front door, an interface that's designed to connect with a very specific audience and make a really complicated system feel accessible, and maybe even a little fun. So what's the end game here? What is all of this engineering and philosophy actually trying to build? Well, the plan lays out 4 flagship projects that are designed to scale from a small, local idea all the way up to a national vision. The whole plan is kind of structured like an inverted pyramid. It actually starts from the top, the biggest, most ambitious goal, which is called defrag, and then it works its way down to the solid, concrete starting point at the very bottom, the Marin Resource Network, or MRN. Defrag is the moonshot. It's the ultimate dream. It's a national-scale mission to organize and connect all the scattered bits of knowledge across the entire country, using a whole system of AI agents. It's all about finding the gaps in services and information, and then creating a system to prove it when you discover new, valuable connections. And here's the humor doing its job again. How do you explain a concept that's as mind-bogglingly huge as restructuring all of the nation's information? Simple. You compare it to defragging a hard drive, but, for reality. And then you just add with bros. All of a sudden, this massive idea feels just a little more graspable and way less intimidating. But look, every big vision needs a real, practical starting point, and that's the Marin Resource Network. This is ground zero. It's a super detailed, hyper-local map, or knowledge graph, of mental health resources, but just for one single county. The important part is that it's designed from day one to be the foundational Lego block that can scale up to the state and then the national level. And even here, down at the most practical nuts and bolts level, the tone is exactly the same. The MRN is a useful tool, like a Swiss Army knife, but it's a high-tech one where every single tool is labeled in RDF, which is just a standard format for data on the semantic web. The joke reinforces the serious tech that's behind the practical tool. So how does a system this ambitious actually work? Let's pop the hood and get into the technical architecture, the real brains that are powering this whole operation. When you boil it all down, the system really runs on 3 interconnected layers. They're what create, organize, and grow the network's intelligence. So, layer 1 is ontologies. The easiest way to think of these is as the fundamental laws of physics for all the system's data. They're the super strict rulebooks that define exactly what a service provider is, what a peer is, and exactly how they can relate to each other. This creates the entire structure for everything else. Next up, layer 2, the knowledge graphs. Okay, so if the ontologies are the rules, the knowledge graph is the actual universe that gets built from those rules. It's this giant, living web where every single person, every provider, every service is a node, and all of their relationships are the edges that connect them. It's the living, breathing database of the whole network. And finally, layer 3. Who actually builds this massive web? The AI agents. These are basically autonomous little robots that just crawl the internet, discover new resources, index them perfectly according to the rules of the ontology, clean up the data, and even pinpoint gaps. All of it automatically while you sleep. They are the engine of growth for the whole system. But here's the thing. This isn't just about data and code. The ultimate goal here is to activate a network of people. So how does the project actually bridge that gap from a technical backend to a real, living, breathing community? Well, this slide just captures it perfectly. The project has this dual nature. You've got the YouTube machine on the surface, this fun, public-facing content engine that's designed to grab your attention. But underneath all that is the dead serious backend. We're talking legal filings, board governance, compliance stacks. It's a playful front for a rock-solid, incredibly serious foundation. Okay, so let's zoom out one last time and see what the total vision looks like when you put all of these different pieces together. And here it is straight from the source. It is a mouthful, I know, but we've actually just unpacked every single part of that sentence. This is a multi-layered network that uses structured data, AI, and engaging content to connect people and resources. And it's all designed to scale from one single community to an entire nation. Which really, it leaves us with a much bigger question. This whole project uses humor and a very specific cultural vibe as a deliberate strategy. A strategy to make something incredibly complex and deeply serious feel accessible. So is this approach, wrapping deep, systematic work in a layer of playful, self-aware humor, is that a blueprint for the future of innovation itself? It's definitely something to think about. And as the document itself signs off, the bro is in your court. Thanks for joining me on this one.